It's Dr. Nicole Bonner and my good friend, Dr. Colton O'Brein, and we are thriving in chiropractic this week.
That's right.
And yeah, baby. And we have an amazing guest, one of my good friends for a long, long time, Dr. David Shapiro. And he has a great story to share with you guys. I hope any student out there, anybody getting ready to open your practice, please take out a pen and paper because Dr. David is going to be dropping some good bombs today, and he's going to make your life a lot easier. So here we go, Colton. Take it away, man.
Yeah, we like to keep it like value packed in the short time that we have together. I think stories are some of the most impactful things. So, David, if you wouldn't mind just introducing who you are, a little bit about your story, where you're practicing, what you're passionate about, and we can just start from there.
Sure. Thanks, Colton. Yeah, wow. I've been practicing for a long time, 3 decades now. And I started out as a chiropractic patient. I had an injury to my knee and I was going to have knee surgery, and I procrastinated and put it off and wound up going to a chiropractor instead, Dr. Murray Galbraith in South Florida. I think now he practices, still in practice, believe it or not, in practice in California. And he changed my life. I had amazing aha moments in my journey. And he taught me the spine and nervous system and the foundation of strength, health, and life in your body. And I was like, wow, this really resonates with me. This makes a lot of sense. But I have a knee problem. How's that going to help my knee? Well, he said, lay on the table. Let me toggle your atlas, and took some X-rays. Worked on me for after 3 months of my knee being swollen. And I was a wrestler at the time, by the way. And I was going to give up my wrestling career. I didn't know if I'd be able to walk again, if I'd have surgery, walk normally again. Certainly not wrestle. After just a week of treatment, my knee swelling went away, changed my life. I was totally inspired. I'm like, wow, this is so cool. This guy helps change lives. He doesn't have to have, I don't need to deal with blood or surgery, and has massive impact on people. And I wound up wrestling my senior year of high school. I wrestled a year of college too. And I've never had knee surgery. That was a long, long time ago. So I practice in, you asked me about where I practice and what I'm doing now. So I've been practicing for 30 years. I practice in Tucker, Georgia. It's a suburb of Atlanta. Yeah. And it's just a little town. And it's just, my patients are amazing. And I love practice. I haven't been, I haven't gotten sick of it. Not one day in 30 years. I still love going to the office. I love changing people's lives and empowering my patients as well as my team members. So it's been an amazing journey.
It sounds like an awesome journey. And on that journey, what are like some milestones or some things that you can think of that have been just staples in like the practicing aspect of chiropractic, or things that have really influenced the way that you look at health and vitality and chiropractic as a whole?
Great question. So I'm one of those, I don't have like a great story about how I put up my shingle like they taught me to do at Life College. They said, put up your shingle, open up. I'm a risk taker. My dad was an entrepreneur, and I'm like, okay, let me do it. So I started out on a shoestring budget, put my shingle up, and I started kissing babies, knocking on doors, and I fell flat on my face. It was a big failure. It was a total disaster. I struggled, hobbled along for a bit. And I didn't have a coach. I didn't have anybody, a mentor like Dr. Nicole. I was just kind of trying to figure it out on my own. I do not recommend doing that. I didn't associate either. So I really had no mentor to learn from. And I just struggled and hobbled. And finally I got a coach, and he pointed out all the mistakes I was making. Atlanta is a really saturated market. There's a ton of chiropractors in Atlanta. We still need more, but it's a very competitive. So if you come in and you're undercapitalized, you don't have capital to market, and you're just relying on your own innate skills, it can be really challenging. So I struggled for quite a while in practice before I got into coaching, getting coached, and finding a mentor to help straighten me out. And one of the other big things, I do have a shout out. When I was struggling, my friend told me to call Don Harrison. And at the time, I didn't even know who Don Harrison was. I was about 2 years in practice, and Don spoke with me for probably an hour on the phone. He didn't know me from Adam, and he shared with me what I need to do. He just straightened me out, pointed me on the right path. And it's been an amazing story ever since.
Yeah, it is amazing. it is amazing how like certain key people in your life, like just, it's like sometimes just a flip of a switch, right, Dave? Where it's like certain key people in your life just like get you to that next jump, right? And you might be doing like all these little baby steps, and then one person can say one thing, and it's like, whoo.
Yeah. Massive, have massive impact. And I absolutely needed that. I didn't know what to do. I mean, I was gonna close my doors. I couldn't support my family. I think we were seeing at the time, probably 20 visits a week. And, that's, not really sustainable unless you're charging a ton of money and you're spending an hour with each patient. So I was there by myself in my office. I had no CA. I was doing everything. I was doing the insurance stuff. I think we did insurance back in those days. I mean, there was no internet in those days. It was a really interesting world back then, but it was a struggle. And so I learned a lot of lessons along the way. And one of them is absolutely, you need a coach and a mentor to get you through. Otherwise, you're just going to be guessing and you're wasting a lot of time and resources in that. And it kills your motivation too. So, yeah.
With that, just thinking about all the students out there listening and people opening up their practice, with that experience and you being able to experience the shift that you experienced in practice, what were like if you could give us 3 like, key elements that really transformed your life and practice?
One is having certainty in the technique that you're doing. When I was a student, I learned a lot of different techniques. I mean, I went to every club, Mopal from the day one of first quarter, and I was just trying to get my feet wet in a whole bunch of different techniques. And I got out and I was a very good adjuster. That's one, I mean, for a new grad, okay, not compared to a seasoned chiropractor, but for a new grad, I really worked on my adjusting skills. And I thought that's what you really needed. And I thought that was like the most important thing. If you're a good adjuster and you can just talk to patients, you got it. It's easy. So number one, it's don't rely, have certainty in your technique. That's number one. So I got into CBP and that's been a complete game changer for my entire life. There's certainty in that for me, and it's a certainty for my patients, and it's just got so much research behind it. So it really aligned with the certainty that I needed to be successful. The second thing is having a mentor. That would be the second thing, and just getting someone. So you have certainty in your technique, have someone to help guide you and keep you on the path of success and prosperity and empowerment. And the third thing I would just say is be really clear of your purpose. You really need to know why you're doing this and why you get up in the morning. Again, for me, after 30 years, like, why do I love what I do? And it's having, for me, I'm in the empowerment business. I'm not in the chiropractic business. I'm not in the spinal correction business, although those are tools that I use and things that I do. But it's really about, I want to empower people. I don't want people to suffer. I don't want people to not reach their potential. I want people to live their best life. So that mindset, having the right mindset, I think is the third key ingredient for success and for happiness and fulfillment. I have that mindset with not just my patients, but also my team. And I want to empower them to become leaders. And so when you have that mindset with the right technique, with the mentorship, I think that's a winning recipe.
Love it. That's some of the best advice I've heard in a long time, David. Thank you.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So, David, you love your people, you love your practice members, you take really great care of your team, you love your community, and you've been serving in your community for over 30 years. And now I know that you also love our profession. And now you're delving into a whole nother aspect of servitude in your life, and you're helping fill a need and a gap in our profession that I think is a desperate need and gap in our profession. And you just launched a business that helps train and place virtual assistants with chiropractors.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a lot about this because it's important. And I'm a big fan. I know when I coach my clients when they're opening a practice, I strongly recommend that they get some kind of assistance as a chiropractic assistant or a virtual assistant, that they get some kind of help. Our good friend Hallie Jules, shout out to Hallie. She's one of the best chiropractic assistant trainers that we know, right? And yeah, so shout out to Haley. Haley always feels the same way, how teaching people that your team is so very important. One of the challenges that new practitioners have is financially being able, or feeling like they're not financially able to support a team quite yet. And this is where I think the whole virtual assistant role, like, it really shines. It shines in offices like mine too, because we always need extra support with team and turnover and training. It's a lot. And so, but especially for these new doctors that are opening practice, this is a really great tool, because it's something that's really affordable for these new doctors and are really going to give them an edge up. So can you talk just about the importance of having somebody there to support you when you open?
Sure. Wow. In grad school, they don't teach you really much about running a business. I would say learning how to communicate, not just with your team and with your patients, is key. And when you're focused on all of the things, insurance rules and regulations, state and governmental rules and regulation, HIPAA, FUTA, SUTA, all these taxes, I mean, it's absolutely overwhelming. It's completely mind-blowing. And I had no training in that. So one of the things I did when I first got a mentor was can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're going in and out a little bit, but I think you're good.
One of the things I did was I was told to hire somebody. Now, back in those days, there was no such thing as a virtual assistant. You had to hire someone. You could hire someone part-time. It's kind of hard because most people want full-time work, at least 30 hours a week. And at today's rates, it's not even, I mean, I could never do that today. I was able to figure it out then, but it was really challenging. Now it would be next to impossible. So
yeah, because in office, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
no, you're fine.
like in office CAs, David, in our area, they're expecting to start right around 20 an hour.
20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you're going to be locked into a lot of hours. So it's not just necessarily what you need. It may be, you could be, and by the way, at $20 an hour, just keep in mind, that's not all there is. Then you have all the taxes on top of that, the workers' compensation, the paid time off, there's a lot of hidden costs. So $20 an hour is more like 25 an hour. And again, then you're locked into set days and hours. What if you go on vacation, or what if you want to change your hours? It's really hard. You might be obligating somebody, you might be obligating yourself to be on the hook for 20, 30, 40 hours a week just by hiring someone. So that cost it's massive. And you have to get bonuses too. There's bonuses on top of that. So there's there's no such thing as $20 an hour. Just forget that. Now you're talking with all of those add-ons, probably 26, 27, maybe even $28 an hour when all said and done. I have all this laid out, by the way. I have an ebook on my website. The website's chiropracticsolutions.com, and I have an ebook that you can download for free. But in my ebook, I talk about all of those hidden costs and what it really costs when you hire someone $20 an hour. So it's easy to say it's 20 an hour, but it's way, way more than that. All right, I digress. So you're locked in and committed to someone for a really long time. And it's hard to train. You have to spend a lot of time training, and you're paying for all of that training. And so I've kind of reverse engineered the whole thing and figured out a different way to do it. There are people who are looking for side jobs, side hustles. And those are chiropractic virtual assistants. Now they come in as a virtual assistant. We teach them and train them and pre-train them in everything that they're going to need to know to be able to help you starting at day one. Now, Colton, you also mentioned something about, the training, all that could be overwhelming. We take care of a lot of that for you because we pre-train everybody so they know the language, they know what insurance is. If you do insurance, they understand about x-rays, they understand about spinal regions. You don't have to start from square one. Every practice is a little different. So of course you're going to have to do some training, but we're going to make that as easy as possible for you. We're going to teach you how to train. We're going to show you the steps, and we'll set metrics and goals for getting them completely ramped up, and able to help you literally in the first week. A good chiropractic virtual assistant, call them a CVA, is going to be pulling stuff off of your plate. They're going to be asking you, let me take this from you, let me take that from you. They're going to look at your systems and they're going to see how you're doing things, and they're going to help you. They're going to help you become a delegator. Most of us are like, hey, I could do this better than somebody else. I don't like doing this thing, but I'm like the best at it, so I might as well just do it. That kind of mindset has to shift. You have to take that. You have to start saying, I know I'm good at this, but I know if I could teach someone one time how to do it and follow up and just check in and make sure they did a good job, they've got it. I don't have to worry about that task anymore. So you need to focus on what's most important in your practice, and chiropractic virtual assistants will work a minimal hours a week. You don't have to commit to these long hours. You can commit to 5 hours a week, even if that's all you want. That is our minimum. And the hours can also change if you need to change the hours, or if you want to expand the hours. You're doing great at 5 hours a week, but you find as your practice is growing, you need 10 hours a week or 20. We can help that and facilitate that entire process for you, help you become a great delegator to offload tasks so that your team, you and your future team, can focus on what's most important. And that is patient care, patient outcomes, making sure the practice is growing.
Mhm.
Sounds amazing. It really does. Like doing this, I've done this for 23 years. I'm in, practice for 23 years. I still practice. And, even the thought of training, because I don't know about you, David, but total transparency, and it's happened multiple times in my lifetime. I have trained somebody for 90 days and they freaking quit. And so I make no money on that investment because, a team is an investment. It should be an investment. Like you should be recouping or getting a return on your investment. But I have had it where I've trained and trained and trained, and the next thing you know is like they quit, and it's like, all right, well, that was thousands of dollars that got thrown away. Plus, it cost me $1,000 to just go through like Indeed or some kind of hiring process to just find them, right? So I think it's a huge need in our profession.
The expense of hiring and training is unbelievable. Not just that you paid this person for 90 days and then they quit, or maybe they didn't work out and you fired them. That's also happened. I mean, if you've been in practice long enough, there's been times not every hire is a great hire. You sometimes like saying, oh boy, what am I doing here? All of that money is sunk cost, and you lose not just, just think about it. Imagine if you didn't do the training. Well, if you value your time, I don't know, what do you value your time at, Nicole? What do you value? If you had to say, my time is worth how much an hour?
Oh, shoot. Oh man, don't put me on the spot, but minimum $1,000 an hour.
Okay.
Minimum.
So now if you train that person just, in 1 week, that's 40 grand that you just, anytime I fired somebody or somebody quit on me, I just felt like I just took buckets of cash and tossed it out my window, literally garbage cans full of cash. It's so frustrating. So, look, not every hire works out. It's just the reality. So I'll have a pro tip for you. Okay. You ready for my pro tip?
Guys, write this down. I know it's going to be good.
Whatever training you do, train one time. You're going to train one time. How are you going to do that? You're going to do a recording of your training. Do a screen record of your training, of your software, for example, or in your office, have someone with a camera, they can use their phone, record you doing this thing. You do it one time, you never have to do it again. It makes life so much easier. And then just share it, obviously, with your new hire, and you can organize it in Google Drive or however you'd like. We have all of our training using advanced training software. That's how we train our VAs. But that adds to some expense to do it that way. But you can just put it in your Google Drive. This is front desk training, and then just number them all and make sure they did it. And then obviously when they're done with the video, we have a quiz that we quiz all of our chiropractic virtual assistants to make sure that they understand the material they just read, or the video that they just watched. So I'll give you one other example real quick. We have an employee handbook, and every new hire, we used to go through the handbook because it's really important that they understand the rules of practice, what to wear, what not to wear, smoking rules, partying rules, whatever it is. We had every rule in the book, in this handbook, so they know what they're doing when they hire, and they know the rules of what's not acceptable behavior or not acceptable things to do in the practice. So we used to have a person who we were paying, probably $40 an hour, $35, $40 an hour, sit through it and go through this handbook. So now I'm paying two people. I'm paying the new hire. let's say that's $20 an hour, and then a $40 an hour person to go through it. So now I've wasted not $60 because you got all those other taxes. So it's probably $75, $80 for going through the handbook for each new hire. If you have a busy practice, you're going to be hiring pretty frequently. That's hours and hours and hours of non-productive time. I said, this is crazy. Why don't we just do this? Let's screen record going through the handbook and just make them watch it and then just quiz them on it afterwards. We have an automated quiz, but let's quiz them on it afterwards to make sure that they know the material. So we recorded it one time. We spent 1 hour doing it, and now it's done. And now any new hire, it's really simple. They just watch the video.
So David, just so that they can have a comparison, what is the typical investment for someone to get a virtual assistant?
So we have a hiring fee. So for us to find you someone, this includes, by the way, it includes all of our interviews, your advertising cost, your we'll send you the Zoom interviews if you want to. We give them quizzes up front. So we have a detailed screening process. It's multiple steps before we're going to send anyone to you for a hire. They're going to go through multiple hoops with us. Okay. So if they're not great, we're not sending them to you. You also have to tell us your parameters for everything of what you're looking for us to do all the advertising, all the interviews, and hire you somebody. It's $4.99. I want to let you know that's we're handing you a hand-picked person or 2 people or 3 people, whatever you want. We'll hand-pick them for you, go through the entire process. So all you have to do is say, I agree with you, which is probably what you'll say. This is a great person, or I like A, B, or C. I like C better. I want to hire that person. No problem. So it's $4.99 for that. And that includes all of our training. They are now coming pre-trained, included in that setup fee.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that is also teaching them how to be a great chiropractic virtual assistant to you, and your training how to be a great mentor and leader for that chiropractic virtual assistant. All of that is in a one-time $4.99 fee.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, to put this into perspective, because this just happened to me. I made a front desk hire. It cost me $1,000 just for the ad, just for the ad to find her. And then she worked for 2 weeks. She had a family emergency and had to quit, and because she moved out of state.
That's a pretty good deal on Indeed. I got to tell you. I mean, my advertising budget for local, easily it can go way more than that. You can spend thousands of dollars on Indeed to try and find the right person.
Yeah.
And that doesn't include your time.
It's just over $1,000.
What about your time of interviewing and pre-screening and then bringing them in? I mean, holy cow, you add up those dollars, it's significant.
Yeah.
So it depends on how much you value your time. So not obviously not absolutely. So we take all of that off your plate. We make the onboard process really easy. It's about a 3-week onboard from the time you tell us someone that you're looking for someone and fill out our questionnaire. We ask you a whole bunch of questions about what you're looking for to onboarding. It's typically about 3 weeks for us to find somebody. The rate on that, by the way, is $24 an hour for a typical CA. That's done. There's no additional cost. That's an independent contractor rate. You do not need to pay payroll taxes. You don't need to give them paid time off, any of that stuff. This is for their hours worked. If they stop working, or if they're, you don't need to continue to pay them. You pay them for their time. So you're not taking up space in your office. You're not paying for for all of these other costs. It's literally 24 and that's it.
Yeah. So no PTO, no sick time, no vacation time. Yeah. No workman's comp. Yeah. Awesome. I love it. I love it. So
yeah, that is cool. Oh, what do you have, Dr. Nicole?
Well, we're coming. What I was about to say was I was just going to do a quick time check because we're coming up to about a half hour already. I know it flies by. But David, we're gonna at the end of this podcast, we'll have James post your contact information. But how could people get in touch with you if they want a virtual assistant?
Absolutely, really easy. You just go to our website, chiropracticsolutions.com. chiropracticsolutions.com. On the website, you can just click on the free consultation button. You'll be sent a Google form to fill out, so we know who we're talking to and what your practice is all about. And we'll do a follow-up Zoom conversation with you about your needs. It's really a needs analysis. What are your biggest pain points? What do you need help with the most? Let's prioritize them. Let's figure out how we can help you so that we can take the burden of all of these tasks that you have to do off of your plate. This can include going through your emails if you want to, organizing your emails, organizing your schedule, organizing your day, calling your patients, doing patient recalls, SEO, marketing, whatever it is you need. We have that category, which is our 24 an hour category. And then we also have another specialty category if you want someone pre-trained to digitize all of your x-rays for you, for example. So that varies based on what the skill is. I haven't digitized an x-ray in, I don't know, probably 10 years. My team does not do any x-rays. We don't do any digitizing. We don't print the reports, none of that. It's all done for us. I come into work in the morning. I have a chiropractic virtual assistant who works at night. We come in for the morning. The entire team barely has to do anything. We only have to do the things that are required in the office, like just making sure the office is ready for patients. Our reported findings are ready. Everything is pulled up. Even I have a chiropractic virtual assistant prep our x-ray machine. So now we come in, we don't have to enter in all the demographics. They look at the schedule. Who's coming in? We have 2 new patients today. Let's enter in their information. We just go back where we have 5 re-x-rays today. They just go in and they put all that information on the computer. It's already there. So all we're doing is pulling up their name and clicking the buttons to take the images. It's mind blowing.
Oh my gosh.
Mind blowing. It's a total game changer.
It's a new world.
Yep.
So Colton, before we wrap up, as a doctor in your first year in practice, do you have any other last questions for Dr. David Shapiro before we wrap up?
Yeah, I mean, my big question is just kind of like the question of not knowing what I don't know. So like I'm doing what I think I should be doing, right? And I do a lot with being a one-man show, I feel like. You started to give a few examples, but what are the most common things that you see these virtual assistants help with in the practice, just so I can kind of wrap my head around it and see where that can take some off my plate?
Great questions. Okay, let me just, I'm going on to our homepage there, and you have it right there. You can just easily go chiropracticsolutions.com, just scroll down a little bit. Daily admin support. So they can send recall emails out to your patients. They can call patients. They can make phone calls for you if you train them on what you want said. Mm-hmm. How about bookkeeping, doing QuickBooks? If you use QuickBooks, they can go in and download all of your transactions. They can pay your bills for you. How about insurance work? They will do the insurance verification. When we go in and do a report of findings, we want all that information ready for us. So we have a chiropractic virtual assistant, it's all done on a PDF. We go in there with an iPad, we're good to go. We have all the information we need. Social media marketing, I talked about x-ray marking, SEO, during search engine optimization, any kind of special projects. How about if you need to send a card to a patient, or you need someone if you use like ReviewWave or some way of text communication to a patient, you can have they can create, or you can create pre-written text. They literally can know what to do. You just tell them the rules and they can do it. And if you want them to help you figure these things out, a good chiropractic virtual assistant is also going to pull things off. They're going to talk to you and you're just going to tell them what you do in a day. And they're going to say, okay, let me see how I can do that. Let me see how I can do this. Even web page design. I mean, my entire website was done by a chiropractic virtual assistant. So you can't believe it's just amazing once your mind starts going and you remove and clear limiting beliefs that you have about what you have to do or what your team has to do. We had a lot of fights in the office. My team was like, oh, the chiropractic virtual assistant can't do this. They can't do that. I'm like, you very, very well may be right. You might be right. But let's try and let's see. Oh, wow. I mean, the first thing that I got off my plate was digitizing x-rays. When I had to do that, I mean, that's a significant time suck. It really is. Like I said, I mean, just that they do it every night for me. I come in, all of my x-rays are in exactly the right folder, exactly the way I want them to look. They're named the right way. So all of those types of things, and if you just brainstorm of all the things you do, you can start writing these things down and saying, just clear your limiting beliefs of I have to do this, and say, what can someone else do it almost as good as me? What can I train them how to do?
Nice.
Yeah. It's amazing. We don't use a virtual assistant in our practice yet. I know we're heading that way because of, my frustration after COVID. It's been a huge frustration finding team members. And I guess, the world changes. But for my Thrive company, when I switched over from a regular assistant in Thrive, like an in-person assistant, to a virtual assistant for Thrive, we 10 times our I almost called it a practice, but we 10 times our coaching company since our virtual assistant started.
Amazing.
Because it just increases so much capacity for you to serve more people.
Great.
And
Great
shit
point,
gets done
Nicole.
correctly, like stuff gets done right.
You have people who have a great work ethic and who really love what they're doing, and they love supporting you and your team. We encourage you to make them feel part of the team. We take videos in the office and we share it with them, so they really and we celebrate patient successes with them. So these are things that we teach you how to do and get them involved and as engaged as possible. And it is a complete game changer. And I have a virtual assistant, chiropractic virtual assistant, who works in the daytime supporting our practice. They do everything all day long to make sure our office runs smoothly. And then at night, I have another one who comes in and she digitizes all of our x-rays and makes sure all of our files are ready for the next day and everything's in its proper place. Every bill is scanned, every file is in the correct location. Makes it
Beautiful.
so much easier.
Awesome.
Beautiful. Well, Dr. Shapiro, thank you so much for your time today and contributing to our audience and contributing to our profession. Once again, this is a huge need in our profession. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Of
Great to
course.
meet you, Colton.
Yeah, great to meet you as well. Thanks for the value you added to me, Dr. Nicole, and all our listeners out there. So I really enjoyed this a lot.
Awesome. All right, guys. So we're going to wrap up our episode today. I think we're on our 54th episode, Colton. Did you know that? I think this was our 54th episode. So we're going to wrap up our episode today and we will see you guys next week.
Peace.